Our relationship with brands has evolved from where brands would usually transmit information to us and we would just accept it. Now there are a whole new set of expectations of brands.
The difference between media and social media is like one's about content, the other one's about conversation. People expect you to be in conversation with them. You have to be prepared for that.
If you do that well, then it actually creates a really cool opportunity to play a really important part in not only people's lives, but in culture more generally.
If every day I'm demonstrating that I understand your predicament, your circumstance, your life, then you're going to start to trust me. The funny part is the people who are doing this the most are brands.
There's this conversation that's happening between brands and the people who consume them.
You'll see the communities online respond to a brand that made a mistake, and they will call them out for hours and hours and hours. The next week, we see the change that we wanted to see.
One like, one comment just turns into a viral message that can be spread instantly.
So if I walk into a bar, there's already a clientele, there's already a set of drinks, there's already a set of conversations, and I can't just decide all of a sudden the bar is all about me. It can be tempting sometimes for brands to want to say like, oh, I want to be a part of that because that's where this conversation is, without thinking, do you actually have something meaningful to say?
We also see brands that are trying to connect with younger folks in ways that I think sometimes it's cool, other times it's cringeworthy. It's like, what are you doing?
How do you create that sense of a wink, but not be making a joke out of it? I think we navigate that line, and to me, that helps give people new, exciting, fun ways to play with a brand that also generates a lot of buzz. We all gravitate to that sense of authenticity in people. Authenticity actually breeds trust. So much in getting it right today is trying to really get to the essence of who you are and also who you're not, and being unabashedly real about that.
The way that we can engender trust amongst others as a brand is by being and acting as human as possible.
Often when X big brand comes in, it's like, hello, fellow teenagers, I have questions for you about who you are and what you're interested in. That often comes across as being inauthentic. The bigger challenge is finding ways to communicate with different fan communities in a way that doesn't just feel like somebody who picked up Duolingo for Reddit.
Brands really do almost have to function like the kind of friends that you would associate yourselves with.
If you're a big brand, you have to take a stand. You can't stay silent. As a consumer, how can you go and happily purchase something if you don't know where they stand on such a huge, polarizing issue?
I think it's a lot easier to sympathize or understand a company's point of view if you can figure out why it is that they have that point of view.
If you weigh in on something that may not be directly related to your product, but it's something that connects with people, all of a sudden, you have equity in a way that you didn't necessarily have it before.
But when you put yourself out there, you're at risk of getting feedback very quickly. Ultimately, what we want is for a brand to inspire us, for a brand to share new ways of looking at ourselves and looking at our worlds.
We need to start rethinking our assumptions. What does it mean for something to be marketing versus content? What does it mean for something to be advertising versus advocacy? Everything's kind of up for grabs.